What's up, everyone?
Today I'm planning to enjoy the fall foliage and cook delicious food on the campfire. But when you're outdoors, little mistakes can turn into big problems. And you have to be ready to adapt. Let's get into it.
So I'm excited to be out here because it's supposed to rain later, which will be a blast. Camping in the rain is always fun. Or, always fun until it isn't. But hopefully this will be one of the fun ones. And I'm also excited to get some practice starting a campfire in the rain. So there is a shelter here, but I want to enjoy a little tent camping in the rain. The wind's starting to pick up ahead of the storm, but it's a beautiful view. So I brought a bunch of delicious food with me, which I'm really excited to cook, but I need a campfire in order to do that. So it'll be a nice little challenge. Let's see if I can get one started despite the rain. If not, I'll be eating granola bars and chocolate milk. It's a little more exposed than I would ideally like, but I need to get this tent set up because the storm is supposed to hit in the next 15 minutes. Hopefully I didn't dilly-dally too much because this could be wet. We'll see what happens. Oh no. We have a slight major issue. I forgot tent stakes. I usually have them in the bag with the tent, but I decided let's save a little bit of weight and leave the bag behind, and I must have left the stakes behind too. I can make some out of wood, but I don't know if I have time before that gets here. You can see it's already starting to rain over there. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but yikes. Okay, I decided to move the tent to a slightly more sheltered area. Oh, you gotta love being outdoors. You never know what's gonna happen. Okay, I have the tent set up. So I'm gonna put my stuff in here just to keep it like semi-dry. I'm not gonna take anything out of the dry bags just because storm and all that. But then I have to figure out a way to get stakes in the ground. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to sleep in the shelter. So let's see what happens. I got my bag under cover. Whew. And I was excited for the challenge of making a campfire in rainy conditions, adding just making tent stakes in the dark on top of it. Well, it is getting dark quickly, but I need to go find some wood to make tent stakes out of. Oh yeah, that storm is close. One thing I can at least do to try to bring a little bit of tension to the fly while I'm gone is put rocks on top of the fly cord, so that way it at least will help a little bit. One challenge is that because of the shelter, this is where people usually camp, so this area is pretty picked over for wood. Let's see if I can find something quickly though. Praise be. This tree has some leaves on it, so I thought it was still alive, but it's dead wood. It's a fallen branch, so I'm gonna use that. Thank you. All right, back at the tent. Let's get these tent stakes made. Well, you can hear it starting to come down now. This is part of why I brought the tent, because I didn't want to use a tarp if it did rain. I wanted to have the bathtub floor, and that was a very good call by me, so props to myself. One major issue, I just had a big gust of wind come and blow this thing right in. This is gonna be dicey. Okay, y'all, slight change of plans. I don't think I have time to fashion tent stakes, so instead I'm gonna cut up some paracord and tie it around the rocks from the fire pit and use that to stake out the fly and the tent. Another reason to always have some rope on you. This baby's gonna save it. Whew, it is coming down. I'd rather go too long than too short, so let's go ahead and get these bad boys cut. All right, so the first wave of the storm has passed, so that's good, but I'm just using these paracord tied to the rocks, and yeah, just need to make sure that that doesn't slip anywhere. One other issue, in my haste to set up the tent, I initially had it broadside to the wind because I didn't measure the wind direction or test the wind direction before setting it up. tried to rotate it and all the rocks in the middle of the rain. So that wasn't fun, but now it's facing off towards the direction the wind is coming from. You just want the narrow part of the tent, generally speaking, to be facing towards the direction the wind is coming from, so it presents less of a broad profile to get caught by the wind. There she comes again. Let's get this set up. This is definitely faster than trying to carve up tent stakes that may or may not hold in the first place. Okay, the tent is up. It is hopefully secure. So now I need to go get some firewood because I am so hungry. All right, let's drag this thing back. Woo. All right. I'm pretty sure that wood is too green to burn readily, but if I can get a fire started and add it on top, it'll be good to go. So let's go find some other more dry firewood if we can. I managed to just slip and fall on these wet rocks and hit my head a little bit. Not too bad, I'm not concussed or anything like that, but I'm gonna have a bruise in the morning. But yeah, I'm just gonna go try to make do with the green firewood I got, and if not, if I can't get it going, that's fine. I'll just eat my snacks, go to bed a little hungry, and it'll be fine. The first thing I'm gonna need to do is try to expose as much of the dry inner wood as I can, because all the outer bark is gonna be wet, but I think the interior of this is gonna be fine. So I'm gonna make a feather stick, or a couple feather sticks probably, and try to do some other things as well. Let's get to it. I'm not shaving off the bark or anything like that, but I am trying to snap it and get this exposed wood. So at least all of the pieces have something for the flames to latch onto. So what you want to do with the feather stick is basically, you want to curl it down so you get little curls like this that are exposed. And one of the tricks that I learned from Woodsbound Outdoors, which is another fantastic channel, highly recommend, is you're gonna get little ridges where you made your previous cut. And so you want to cut along those to get your next curl. So that's what you don't want to do. But yeah, just rotate it and slowly guide the knife down, and you'll get there eventually. So you can start to see the feathering here and these little bits that are available now for the flame to catch on to. And as always, you want to be pushing the knife away from you. Last thing you need is a knife blade going into your hand in the backcountry. So what I did here was I put the fire starter down underneath the feathery part. So I'm hoping to light the feather once the fire starter goes off. And I'm going to put some of these little bits of kindling and the shavings I got from making the feather stick over top of it as well. So I'm just going to trim this stuff down so I have some bigger pieces ready to go. Now another trick to expose the inner wood is batoning, which basically means you just have the blade extending out over the wood, and then you smack it down with another piece into the wood. And it's just a way of splitting wood if you don't have a hatchet or something. Now you have the inner core fully exposed, and you can start trimming some of these pieces down too. Put some of these pieces with the exposed edges on top. Flame. So it has taken an hour to get to this point. You can hear the wood hissing. It's just very green, very wet. So I have my split pieces arrayed behind the fire so they can dry out as the fire catches. But the problem is the fire keeps going out. So let's see what happens. Well, friends, after 2 hours and some change, got some fire going, but the big stuff just never caught, and it's getting late. I need to go to bed. So after all of that, I'm not gonna cook something for dinner tonight. Just gonna have this chocolate milk that I brought just in case this happened, and I'm gonna go to sleep. Well, that was a bummer. Yeah, I could get the little stuff to catch, but never got the big stuff. Even the wood I batoned and the feather sticks and all that never really amounted to much. I definitely messed it up a few times where I either smothered it or got a little too greedy and tried to move some things around to provide airflow and actually douse the flame. So a learning experience for sure. Yeah, I don't know, disappointed, sorry for that. Definitely a skill issue. But it was also a good test, trying something with some wet wood, some green wood. Lessons learned. I'll keep practicing, but in the meantime, fair life, never let me down. Well, it happens sometimes. You don't always get what you want. Certainly not in outdoors, but yeah, I've had fires take a while, but never like that. But it's still a nice night outdoors. You can hear crickets. There's stars overhead. So that's what I love about it. Even when things go wrong, it's still a good time. You know, as long as you're safe, nothing's like an emergency, then you're good. Morning. It is morning. Dawn is approaching, so time to get up and try to start this fire so I can make breakfast. One of the things I hate most is putting on wet clothes, but it is a beautiful morning. Today's gonna be a good day. Oh, wow. Now that is a beautiful sunrise. It's gonna be a good morning, regardless of whether I get the fire started. That is beautiful. Putting logs by the fire to dry them out didn't really do much because the dew got them wet again. Oh well. One other trick I'm gonna try is just shaving off little chips of wood or little slivers into the fire pit. I'm gonna have to arrange them, but just trying to get a little more dry stuff for the fire starter to catch with. All right, now we're gonna try the old feather stick again. I got my pile of shavings, got my feather stick ready to catch. Let's try it again. And I think last time I did not baton them down enough. And big bucks, no whammies. Well, unfortunately, it is getting late and I need to get to work, so don't think I'll be able to cook anything today. Bummer. I really hate to give up, but what you gonna do? Time to pack up the tent and put out the fire, such as it is, head back home. What an absolutely gorgeous morning. That's what I love about being outside. Even when things are going wrong, it's still a great time. There is a cruel irony in having to take down a bear bag when I didn't get to make any of the food. Oh well. I am so glad I thought to put these rocks down as the tent stakes instead of trying to make some in the middle of that storm. Yes, wasn't what I expected, but it's been quite the adventure. wasn't quite what I had planned, but this is still a beautiful campsite. Really glad I got to come out here. Whew. Yeah, you can see where I hit my head yesterday, but it's a little sore. Ow. But not too swollen, thankfully. Whew. But yeah, that could have been bad. So glad I did not have something serious happen there. What a privilege to have a place like this all to myself. Last time I was here, there were other people using the campsites nearby. But this time, I guess the rain kept everyone away, except for me. Just love how much of the foliage has already changed. I cannot get over how red all those bushes are. Just gorgeous. Well, friends, I am almost back at the trailhead, so thanks for following along. That was not what I expected, to say the least. Yeah, definitely do not forget tent stakes in a storm. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is don't try to start fires with green and wet firewood unless you're way more skilled than I am, at least. But still had a great time. I am a little hungry, ready to get home and eat some food, but it was a blast. Thanks for following along, and I'll catch you next time.